In continuing with the perspective topics, today's topic is the perspective of the judger, judging self and judging others. I'm so excited about this, so let's get started. What we find every time is someone who is judging others a lot is also judging themselves. And the reverse is also true. Someone who judges themselves is a very harsh judge of others. So you might find this to be comforting, because if you think about someone who has judged you harshly or who constantly judges you harshly, then realize that they're probably judging themselves just as harshly. And the reverse is also true. And in this way, it may not be so great for you to hear. If you are one who judges yourself all the time, and you feel like, well, you don't judge others, you reserve that for yourself, I want you to check again, because it is very rare that you judge yourself and you don't judge others. Almost impossible, as a matter of fact. This all comes from childhood upbringing. Generally, you've probably had a parent or some other important figure in your life who judged very harshly. So you learned that that was the way to do things. You decided to judge yourself because those parents or whoever it was were judging you so much, you had to do things differently in order to win their approval. And so you took on their judging mindset of yourself. This makes life very difficult because you can never be satisfied, especially if they were very challenging and very difficult, and they were very demanding of your perfection. If you made a single mistake on anything that you were doing, if you left a crumb on the counter when you were supposed to clean the kitchen, or you left a little fuzzy on the floor when you were supposed to vacuum, and they said, nope, you didn't do it, you've got to do it all over again, then of course you're going to develop this terrible fear of getting anything wrong ever. So your judgment, your expectation of yourself is perfection. Think about this. Have you made decisions in your life that you said, no, I'm not going to do that because I'm probably not good enough? Then that probably means that you had the expectation that you were going to be perfect at this thing that you wanted to do. But you realized you wouldn't be, and you couldn't handle it, so you decided not to do it. This is the perspective of the judger, or another way to say this is the perspective of the perfectionist. And when we are perfectionists, then we believe that absolutely everything has to be perfect. And we say, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this political figure didn't solve this problem. Oh my God, how idiotic. I can't believe that this person didn't do this right, and that actor or actress didn't handle their business well enough. Whatever it is, or the people that are close to you. Well, how could you not see it this way? It's so obvious. It has to be this way. It can't be this other way. Any of these types of perspectives absolutely define you as a perfectionist. So take a little break, relax a little bit. One of the best ways to overcome perfectionism is to recognize that you're always doing your best. Are you always doing your best? Maybe you think, no, of course not. I'm not always doing my best. I procrastinated on this other thing and I didn't do this thing right. Well, who cares? Even if you think about it like this, do you know anybody who has had such severe depression that they couldn't even get out of bed, that they couldn't answer the phone, they couldn't do anything because they were so miserable? Do you look at them and say, well, they weren't doing their best? Or do you look at them and say, well, they were struggling with a lot. They were doing their best just to survive that period of time, or just to survive now. That's the way that you can look at things from a non-perfectionist point of view. It's a do your best point of view. As long as you are doing your best, which by the way is all the time, then you're fine. How can you possibly say, Xane, that I'm always doing my best? Have you ever not? Because maybe you said, well, I decided not to do the things that I was responsible for. I just couldn't make myself do it. Well, you couldn't make yourself do it because you needed a break. You needed an opportunity to think and let it sink in. Maybe you needed an opportunity to find the motivation on another day, another time. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on others, because everybody is just doing their best. The 0 point of non-judgment is often discussed in the spiritual world as enlightenment, as the place to be where you are in a bliss state, where you don't have to be overwhelmed by the emotional burdens of this existence, this 3D life. Fear and disappointment and frustration and impatience and all this, it all comes from survival, and it also comes from judgment. Judgment of yourself and judgment of others will destroy your life. So yes, recognizing that everybody is doing their best is an excellent way to get a start on conquering your perfectionism and your judgment. But also understand that judgment comes from our primitive ancestry. We lived in very small communities. We lived in a survival-based division of labor, which we needed in order to collect the berries or to hunt the food or to take care of the children. Judgment came from whether you did that well enough. And if you didn't, maybe you were ousted from the group. So it's very important that you judged yourself and others because your survival was at stake. Well, here we are now. If you don't have fear of death, if you don't have fear in general, if you can go about your life without having fear, which is obviously a very challenging prospect, then you also don't have to have judgment anymore. You just don't need it. It's in the way of your experience. But we understand why we have it. It was part of our survival. So overcoming it isn't necessarily easy. However, there is an approach, and that approach is taking the perspective of your higher self. The perspective of your higher self solves all of the perspectives that cause problems. And I'm very excited to present that to you in a new video that I'll be uploading soon. I'll be putting it here when it's done so that you can click on this link. But if you're watching this video before I've finished it, there won't be anything there, so you just have to wait a little bit. But that approach will solve these problems. And I'm going to teach you exactly how to do that and give activations to support you. In the meantime, go ahead and take a look at some of the other videos that I've created for the different perspectives. Do you have those perspectives? Do you have the victim mindset or any of the other perspectives that might be in the way of your happiness and your health and your growth and expansion and the ability to learn lessons and really take advantage of this life? I want to thank you for watching this video. I'd love it if you left a comment telling me, what did you learn from this? Was there anything that you didn't already know? Or was it a great reminder? Or did you learn something brand new that you're going to apply to your life? I'm hoping that's the case. And please go ahead and like and subscribe and let people know about this channel, because my goal is to help as many people as possible. You have come to this planet to have this incarnation, to have an absolutely incredible life experience, to grow, to expand, to learn incredible lessons. So I'm so happy that you're here and that you're listening to me on this amazing journey that you're on that is uniquely yours. I'm humbled and honored. I love you unconditionally, and I'll see you in the next video.